Well, it's that special time in Texas where it's not really summer, it's not really spring, because even though spring has sprung, it's too hot to be spring and not hot enough to be summer yet. So the birds are chirping, the trees are dropping pollen at a rapid rate, and the UPS guy shows up with a new spring offering. So with that in mind, time to get this box open, and I'll be right back. All right, so the normal box this one would be in had to be modified because this one went everywhere but home. Well, actually, it did come to my house, but then turned around because I was not home and was sent back to Gibson because the shipping label was damaged. With that in mind, this guitar has had some scuffs and bruises. So, yeah, it's a little bit different. See if I can get it out and we'll get some more information. So, yeah, this guitar came to my house and then went all the way back to Gibson because the shipping label was damaged and they didn't want to leave it. And so because of that, this thing, it feels like, has been everywhere but my house. That said, it is finally here. And I cannot be more excited for getting one of these. Now, this one is a little unique. Gibson, as everybody knows, has a made-to-measure program. And with that in mind, the fact that you can make or order a Gibson guitar pretty much any way that there's other guitars that are spec'd. There's some guitars from the past that they won't do. This one is supposed to be a made-to-measure 67 Flying V that was abandoned at some point because of some reason that they did not disclose, and I was not really digging on asking. But the guitar itself, though dirty, is in pristine shape. Let's make sure that there's nope, feels good up there. But this guitar, I don't know that I'd say that's a 67 Flying V. People who know more about 67 Flying Vs, please chime in, but this one has Dirty Fingers pickups. And that is something that we've had before in a HP Flying V. So the high performance Flying V that we had in the past had those same pickups. But this time, the quality I think is going to be a little bit higher because this one is one of the custom shop made 67 Flying Vs. And serial number indicates that it's definitely a 67, but man, that doesn't really, like I say, I'm not well versed enough to be able to tell you for sure if all of that is correct. But the things that I notice on this guitar is the absolute finish on it is beautiful. And like I say, I will definitely be interested in hearing how this one sounds compared to the Dirty Fingers equipped HP Flying V. So anyway, sorry, the weather got a little crazy right there. So I had to make a little change and do some stuff here. So the, like I say, this one has a lot of really interesting appointments. So I'm really interested in how this one's going to play because it is a Dirty Fingers, just like the HP was, but it has black appointments, and it's, I mean, I'm a fan of the black and white anyway. The tuxedo look is just great. But this guy takes it up a little bit of a notch. And I will say this case is so much tighter than any other Flying V case I have ever had. And we've had three of them now, because we've had the Tribute in Olive Drab. We've had the what is it, like the 80s or 70s? Anyway, but this case is like super duper tight, and I gotta tell you, it's pretty high quality. I'm wondering where the case was made. Canada, so it's a Canadian made one. Oh look, so some different stuff in the case here. Key, of course, 24/7, but this is new. Never seen one of these before. So this is the TKL thing for that. But check this, vintage reissue strings. Haven't seen that one before. And then of course the little Gibson thing there. But the, this is the Gibson. Oh, it's a Gibson Custom COA. There you go. And then of course your normal warranty evaluation with all the little things that go along with that, and then the little Gibson brands thing. But something I'm noticing, there's no tool. Like, there's no actual like Gibson multi-tool or anything. How about that? I wonder if I should bring that up, that didn't include that, or if I should just use one of the ones I already have. But anyway, so interesting. That's kind of different. Something I've never really thought about before, but that was. So I'm going to show something else here in just a moment, because the top of the box has an interesting description for the skew that you normally see for like a Les Paul or whatever. It's kind of different. Going to take a picture of it, or I'll get it on video. So give me just a moment. So normally you see model, Les Paul, color, tri-burst, product number, all this kind of stuff right here, right? So you see that and you think to yourself, oh, that's normal. Check this out. This is designer. So instead of it saying Flying V, it does say the right color and it says the serial number and everything. But so that gives you some insight into the fact that this really was a different deal. So this really was like a made-to-measure type system, or guitar that was abandoned, made, and then they found some kind of defect. But like I say, just a little bit different to see something other than Flying V on there. And also, I want to show you something else. Look at the difference between the Flying V and Les Paul box. The Flying V box is so much taller. And I didn't realize that until today. Like, it's never really sunk in that the Flying V and the Les Paul have that big of a difference in their body shape that it required a box that much bigger. So anyway, random thoughts. So I think at this point though, it's time to plug it in and see if everything works. So these two look great next to each other, and I can't wait to put the Explorer next to this, because this guitar, I mean, they're both ebony, but the Explorer is also ebony with a white pickguard. So that is something that I am going to be really interested in seeing. But this is the classic Les Paul that has the 490R and 490T with the standard classic, switching and everything. So it has the phase reversal, bypass, coil splitting, all that stuff. But anyway, so just thought I'd take a moment and recognize that that guitar and this guitar look great next to each other. Anyway, so as I'm tuning this guitar up, I'm realizing that these strings are super duper new. Like maybe they restrung it when it got lost in shipping that one time and they went back to them. So there is a lot of stretch on these strings. And I'm not really complaining about that. I like new strings. But it's just weird that it has that phenomenon that normally we don't get from guitars that you pick up from, well, from Gibson or from the Demo Shop, to be honest with you. I don't usually have that problem with either one of those. But something else that I noticed on this is this has like yellow side markers of some sort, and I don't know what that material is. Is that a spec from a classic standpoint that I just don't know? I mean, like the unbound fretboard is of course a classic spec, but like I said, the yellow markers, I've never seen that before, and it looks different. It's striking. It's really, really, really striking because you don't see that ever. But also, I don't know if it's going to be able to pick it up, but on this neck, there's like a spot where they kind of quit like doing something. Like they buffed it for a while and then just stopped buffing it. So this one's got some really interesting VOS to it. And that's something that I wasn't really expecting either, but somebody came through and spec'd this guitar to be what it is. And I'm just wondering who. And like I say, I don't know where it came from, but something else I noticed on this guitar. The pole pieces are in perfect line and are perfectly flat. They are perfectly flat. There is no rise or anything to it. So this guitar is just waiting to be done. But these are all in perfect line. They're all just straight across. I've never seen that on Dirty Fingers before. So somebody, I don't know if that's quality control or if that's something that is interesting, but it'll be interesting to hear how that sounds because they are perfectly flat, flush with their pickup rings, and also in perfect line with each other. So that's different and kind of cool, but also kind of what's that going to sound like? Because usually they have some kind of adjustment for where they think that the sound should be richer or leaner, and so you have pole pieces that are higher or lower, and even like staggered pole pieces on the Fender pickups that are non-adjustable. They're all in different staggered deals, so it's really rare to see something that's just flat all the way across, and I'm really interested in what that's going to sound like. So without further ado, let's find out. So a little bit noisy because of course the LED lighting in here, but the guitar itself, like I had to take a moment to realize, because I'm so used to Les Pauls, right, where everything on the Les Paul is separate tones, right? Well, master tone, individual volumes, and it's not labeled or anything, so you really don't know that unless you just happen to know this pickup setup. And like I say, I've had a couple of different Flying V's, so this was a little bit different than what I was used to, but like I say, it's actually a really comfortable neck, though the neck is, and when I do an actual like side by side and everything and do a little deeper dive into the guitar, I will display what it's shaped like, but it's got like a flat but a little bit wide. It's very, very much like what I think an SG plays like, right? Like the SGs that I have all have that same basic deal, but it's a bridge now. So the bridge pickup, it has a really twangy sound to it. Like, I'm used to it feeling like it's a little bit hotter than that in the neck or the bridge of a in the bridge of a Flying V. The Tribute pickup, they were hotter than normal, but you turn the tone all the way down, tone at 5. And so that's at 5, and then back at 10. Neck, same thing, 10. Turn that one down to 0. Back at 5. I think that one benefits about 7 at its best. I'm going to be interested to see what the capacitors and everything are on this guitar, because I am super duper interested in how they're wired, because this guitar has a really neat sound, and it's something that's different than the HP was. The HP, the Flying V HP, it was always trying to break up at all times. And these Dirty Fingers now, admittedly, they're all in a row and they're all flat. So that's something different compared to the HP's Dirty Fingers, but and so it's got a different feel to it. Like, especially in the bridge. So that's really interesting. So when I do the deep dive on this guitar, I'm going to definitely do some changes, I think, to the way that sound, but I don't know, man, that sound is really good. It's got a unique sound to it, but I wonder what it's like with some, because of course what it is, I think that maybe a little, a little metal zone. So now with a little metal zone added to it, still in about between 7 and 8 right there. So this is going to be your like I say, this is a good neck demonstration, and then we'll go to the bridge. Bridge. And then in the middle. So yeah, that's that's what Dirty Fingers on Metal Zone is supposed to sound like. Definitely gonna want to find out what's underneath the hood of this guy. I'm curious about if it's Bumblebee capacitor, because at 67, what would it have been? Would it have been orange drops? Would it have been bumblebees? Would it have been some other wiring? I'm really curious as to what's inside this thing now, because Dirty Fingers is Dirty Fingers. I mean, you can't hide that these are Dirty Fingers because they literally have it written on. And so Dirty Fingers pickups in a flying V. But this one doesn't try to eat itself every time you put distortion on it. And that's something that the HP would do. It squealed no matter what you did. It didn't matter how nice you played or how soft you played or anything. It only mattered that it wanted to eat itself, and it just did a really good job of trying to do that. So there you go. 67 Flying V, made to measure, that was abandoned and brought back to life in the demo shop. I dig the all black hardware. I dig the way it feels. Like I say, the neck is different, and I feel weird because the HP's neck had that smoothed out profile. So, you know, like I say, it had a nice smooth, it didn't have this ledge. So with that in mind, it's neat that this one feels more comfortable than the HP did. And I'm not sure if it's because of how wide the HP was or what, but there you go. 67 Flying V, made to measure by somebody from Gibson. Like I say, nothing like getting a made to measure guitar for the price of a USA line. Till next time.